Reading slumps are a reader's worst nightmare, and they always seem to strike at the absolute worst times. Like in the middle of a 1,000-mile cross-country move. Which is exactly what I'm doing this week. So in an attempt to avoid a moving-induced reading slump, I am only going to read books that I predict will be 5 stars. The first book on my hopefully slump prevention TBR is going to be Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Full disclosure, I have never actually read an Abby Jimenez book before, but I'm really excited because this one has phenomenal reviews, basically across all platforms on Kindle, Fable, Goodreads, etc. I feel pretty confident this is going to be a 5-star book. The book follows Emma, who is a travel nurse, and then just some guy named Justin. They basically share this curse where they date someone, and then after they break up with that said someone, that someone goes on to find their soulmate. So Emma and Justin come up with this plan to fake date, basically assuming that once they break up, they will both go on to find their soulmates. I think that premise is so cute and also hilarious, so I'm hoping I get a few good laughs. I'm really looking forward to cracking up. Yeah, I'm gonna start reading this and see if it lives up to the hype. I am 60% done with Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, and when I tell you that this book is addicting, I mean it. I'm having such a great time. I really love Emma and I really love Justin, both as main characters. The chemistry is there, and it is a slow burn. Both Emma and Justin have some personal complex relationships that they have to navigate through, as well as their feelings for each other. So that's just adding an extra layer of story to the book that I'm also really enjoying. Emma, she's a fascinating character. There's times when I'm annoyed with her because she's aloof, but also incredibly empathetic. When it comes to Justin and her feelings towards Justin, she's completely gaslighting herself, refusing to acknowledge the feelings that she's having for Justin, which is irritating me, but I assume probably it's because of trauma, right? However, when it comes to her mother, she's like so completely blinded by how badly she wants a relationship with this woman that she's acting like a moron. She's like too forgiving when it comes to her mom, but I don't know. At the same time, that's a complex character and I have to appreciate it. Definitely an easy read. I've already texted Cari telling her that she has to pick up this book. It's a lake book, and really been loving lake books lately, by the way. I'm really excited to read more of this book in bed tonight, as well as on our very, very long drive cross country tomorrow. I have a feeling I'm gonna devour the rest of this book. If there's a miscommunication trope, however, I will be so pissed off. So Abby, please don't do that to me. With that being said, I think that's really all of my thoughts right now. I'll check in when I have a final verdict on if this book is 5 stars or not when I finish this book. Abby freaking Jimenez, you guys. Not the best angle in the world that we're working with, but I'm in a U-Haul, so what can you do? This is what we're gonna have to do for the time being. I finished just for the summer, and while reading this, I made a hilarious discovery that this is actually a part of an interconnected standalone series. Yeah, I had absolutely no idea that there were 2 books before this. I don't think they're necessary for the story. Obviously, I got through this. For a minute there, I was feeling bamboozled. I got incredibly worried this was going to turn into a tragedy rather than a love story. Personally, I'm a firm believer in the fact that romance books do need to have a happy ending in order to be a romance, because this isn't Shakespeare. It shouldn't be a tragedy. Thank you very much. I did get worried that it wasn't going to be like a satisfying ending. I was feeling very conflicted because I loved the characters so much, but if I didn't get a satisfying ending and the ending that I wanted, I would have felt so utterly betrayed that I would have had to rate it 1 star out of pure spite. Thank goodness that did not happen. I loved the ending personally. I thought that this book was so sweet and so funny and so layered. There were sensitive topics that were tackled, but it was written just very beautifully overall. To be completely honest, I would like to immediately pick up another Abby Jimenez book. I'm not going to do that because that would completely derail the video, but I wish I could cast like a memory spell on myself so I could go back and reread this immediately. I just want to experience it again. It was so good. The book is rated very highly across all platforms, and I think rightfully so. Abby Jimenez has 100% earned herself a permanent spot on my TBR for the future, and I will be picking up more of her books. And if you can't tell, this is obviously for me a 5-star book. I cannot wait to read more of her work, but for now, on to the next predicted 5-star read. I'm 1 for 1 on my 5-star predictions so far for this move. Go me, by the way. The next book that I predict is going to be 5 stars is In the Veins of the Drowning by Kalie Cassidy. This is a dark fantasy romance, and the main character is a siren. Girl, say less. This book has been on my TBR for a few months now. What really forced my hand here and made me decide to pick this book up is the fact that our friends Cassie and Emily over at Book Bits and Chill podcast have been raving about this book. If you've been subscribed to us for a while now, you might have seen that Cassie and Emily recommended Daggermouth, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You can go watch that video. Cari and I were absolutely obsessed with Daggermouth. Basically, this is all to say that if Cassie and Emily say a book is 5 stars, I believe it. I'm really excited for this book. Let's see if we can go 2 for 2. Back on the road. I did have to get the audiobook for In the Veins of the Drowning because I couldn't even read off my Kindle because the roads are so bumpy, and you wouldn't believe this, but U-Hauls actually don't drive very smoothly. Quick update. We made it to our house finally after 2 very long days of driving, but when we got here we unpacked a few things and immediately fell asleep, so there was not a lot of reading done. I'm gonna get back to reading today, but also still unpacking more. I am halfway through In the Veins of the Drowning, and unfortunately, I am struggling. The story follows Imogen, who is a siren in hiding. She's living in this oppressive kingdom run by a very evil, vicious king who thinks sirens are evil and hunts them for sport. So in order to escape said evil king and her arranged marriage to a siren hunter, Imogen forms a blood bond with a neighboring king named Theo. Basically, in exchange for helping her escape this kingdom, Theo says, "You have to help me hunt down Yusha, I think that's how you say it, who is a siren-killing water deity. So Imogen and Theo, they leave the kingdom and then they go on adventures. Over the past 3 days, I've read 3 chapters. Maybe that's because the last 72 hours have been filled with unpacking and then coming back to Dallas to my mom's house to pick up my cats. It has been really draining, so I am going to chalk up some of this to that. But overall, I just wish I was more invested in this book than I currently am. I think I was completely thrown off by my own expectations because when I hear dark, gothic, siren fantasy romance, I was expecting like a full-on bloodthirsty siren in the sea, luring men to their deaths, ripping their heart out, eating it, just like overall very morally gray FMC, and Imogen is just not that. So far in this book, again 50% in, she's unalived 1 man. Girl, let's get to work, please. I don't know, that's just like, that's what I was expecting, and that's not what is being delivered at the current moment. And I'm not feeling like this is super dark and gothic, personally, in my opinion. And I think what makes this so much worse is that I haven't seen a single person talk about this book with anything other than overwhelming enthusiasm. And one thing about me is that I'm just like other girls, and I love being just like other girls. I want to like the things that other girls like because I want to be in on this club. I'm not currently, so I feel like I'm sitting here on the outside of a club and I feel left out. I feel left out. The good news is that I only have about 2 hours left in this audiobook, so I am going to push through and finish it today because I do fear that if I don't push through and finish it today, a big reading slump will slap me in the face, and I can't have that. I don't have the time nor the energy to be hit with a reading slump. Maybe this will turn around the next 50%. For my sake, I hope it does. I'm sure you were expecting footage of me reading, but the fun fact about that actually is that I still haven't finished the book. It has since been 2 days. I am back at my house, and I actually didn't even read at all yesterday. Something I did do was my husband and I built a bookshelf. So I am motivating myself. If I read, I can start putting some of my books on the bookshelf. That's called gaslighting. I have finally finished In the Veins of the Drowning by Cassidy. Objectively, I do think that this was a good book. But subjectively, I did not have a good time reading it. Honestly, that's probably my own fault for trying to take on a fantasy book in the midst of a very stressful, chaotic move. The amount of times that I wanted to just DNF this book was absurd. And in hindsight, honestly, I probably should have DNF'd this book. Maybe not fully DNF'd, but at least a soft DNF and then like try to come back around to it. Personally, I just didn't really buy the love story. It wasn't believable. Theo did nothing for me. Imogen was irritating me majority of the book. And to be completely truthful, the stakes didn't feel high, like at all. The story didn't actually pique my interest until about 80% into the book. And I don't think I should have to read 80% of a book to finally become interested. To make matters worse, by the time things did get interesting, I had forgotten who literally everyone was. Again, my fault for taking 1 million years to read this book. But the only characters that I really truly liked were Lachlan and Agatha. And then it ended on a really unsatisfying cliffhanger because there are satisfying cliffhangers and this was just not one of them to me. So overall, it kind of just left me feeling irritated and I'm disappointed. But I am mostly disappointed in myself for not loving the book. I'm having a crisis trying to rate this book because it feels wrong to rate this book 3 stars because I did not have a good time reading it. But then it also feels wrong to give it 2.5 stars because it's not a bad book. I think my final verdict on star rating is gonna have to be a 2.75. My 5-star prediction streak has been broken. I got 1 correct, so that's kind of embarrassing. I'm almost completely unpacked at the new house because it took me, as I've mentioned 100 times, it took me so long to finish that book that I've basically done all of my unpacking. So now the pressure is really on for this 3rd book. She needs to be 5 stars. So on to the next. I felt like I needed something fluffy, something easy, and maybe something I've never read before. So I have picked Game Set Match by Jennifer Iacopelli. I am so excited. Actually, this is a tennis romance. And fun fact about me, I played competitive tennis basically all my life growing up, which means that this book to me is either going to be wildly inaccurate and cheesy, or I'm gonna eat it up. And you know, there's really no in between there. And let's be real, tennis is not really known for its hotties, with the exception of Matteo Berrettini. Put some respect on his name. So I'm very curious to see how these characters are described, specifically the MMC. Let's see if she can save this video and save my slump. Save my slump? Is that a weird thing to say? Will this fix my reading slump, or will it make it worse? Literally, shut up. I am 24% in. I've been reading for less than an hour. I'm obsessed. Thank God, this is exactly what I needed. This is exactly what I needed. Update, because I'm already halfway through Game Set Match by Jennifer Iacopelli, and this is exactly what I needed. This is exactly what I needed. I was a little worried that I was gonna find it cheesy and irritating, but I'm actually having so much fun. The story follows 3 different girls who are all training at this prestigious tennis facility in Outer Banks, so fun little beach edition there. And the main character is Penny, who is kind of like the new it girl in the up and coming pro tennis scene, but she's currently being plagued by the memories of a hookup that she had at a previous tournament. And enter Alex. Alex, the hookup, also shows up at the Outer Banks tennis facility to train after suffering from a knee injury. And to make matters worse, they get paired together as basically hitting partners to train for the French Open. And Penny can't stand this guy. She can barely look at him, let alone practice with him. So there's a lot of tension there. Meanwhile, the other 2 girls, Indy and Jasmine, are getting into drama. Indy is brand new to the Outer Banks facility, took the past 2 years off because her mother passed away. So she's like just getting back into the tennis scene and pisses Jasmine off immediately. She arrives at the facility, Jasmine's pissed. And Jasmine is kind of like the resident queen bee. Her parents own the Outer Banks facility, and they are both previous tennis superstars. So Jasmine has a lot of pressure on her to basically live up to her parents' legacy. She gets really threatened because she thinks that Indy is going to come for her tennis titles. She also thinks that Indy is interested in Teddy, which is Penny's twin brother, but Indy is actually interested in Jack, who is Penny's older brother. I'm really loving the almost like 3 main characters and then 3 siblings all having their own little love interests. There's a lot of triangles happening, and I'm having a great time. What I really like about this book is that there's a lot of actual sport happening. There's a lot of tennis. Usually in sports romance, you don't actually get that much sport, but I really like the added aspect of getting actual match play. That's really fun to me. Character-wise, my favorite without a doubt is Indy and Jack. I'm obsessed with them. Penny and Alex are hilarious. I love their dynamic. They're funny. And then of course we have Teddy and Jasmine, who are, well, they're messy. Teddy is, there's really no nice way to put it, he's a man whore. Jasmine is also giving mean girl self-righteous energy. She's got a really big ego, but I do think that she has the potential to really grow on me. I don't know, something about Indy and Jack, they're just stealing the show for me. Overall, I'm having such a good time. The pressure is still on because I'm only 50% through. I don't think it'll let me down, but who's to say? I'm gonna keep reading and see you in a little bit for my final verdict. have finished Game Set Match by Jennifer Iacopelli. Honestly, this book was dumb cute. It only took me about 3 hours total to read it, so it was a very easy, cute, fun, fluffy read. Was it the best book I've ever read in my entire life? No. Am I going to remember every single character and plot detail 6 months from now? Probably not. But for what it is and for what I needed right now, it delivered. As it would turn out, moving is really hard and super stressful, so I was really on the edge, about to slip into a reading slump, and I really just needed something exactly like this book. As I mentioned in the halfway checkpoint, one thing that I really loved is that there was actually tennis. This is my formal request for that to be the norm for a sports romance. We've normalized calling things sports romance, and there's literally one game, one match, one sport activity happening in the entirety of the book, and we're getting away with calling that a sports romance. If it's like emotionally heavy, like Boys of Tommen, I'm not looking at you, Boys of Tommen. I'm not looking at you, Chloe Walsh. You keep doing you, you're perfect, girl. But if it's a light, fluffy romance, and we're calling it a sports romance, can we please have one actual game in the book? One actual match in the book? Or preferably actually more than one? Also, as a bonus for Game Set Match, I didn't even have any real critique over how the tennis was being presented to me. Overall, I don't have a lot of thoughts on this book. For what the book was trying to be, that was a solid 4 stars for me. My almost book slump is officially cured. I am almost completely unpacked. Overall, I think I did a pretty good job, with the exception of almost putting myself into a book slump. Okay, I guess I didn't do a great job, but whatever. 2 out of 3 of the books were really great. Maybe take this as your sign to go pick up a tennis romance. Thanks for watching this video. See you in the next one. Okay, quick fuck my life. Starting strong. 5-star book. What the fuck? Oh my god. With all of that being said, but for now, Jesus Christ. Casey, who's to say? What is this book called? Cassidy. Cassidy? Cassidy? Jesus. The hell was that?
Wait, stuff it.
What?
And then put the thing on it.
You stuff it.
What's this thing on? Olive, say hi! Is that mascara all over my face? Oh my god. Embarrassing. Right, Mochi. Can you move? Go on. Yeah. Hello? What is happening? Oh my god. What? Right then. What the fuck? Honestly, mate. What's happening?